Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the SOUNDPROOF podcast with me, Tom Wilson, and we've got Jesper here as well, better known as Jonth.
What's good?
So yeah, we're just going to be chatting a load of shit, but we're going to be talking about the music industry, our opinions on stuff, and just covering a bunch of topics. So we thought this would be an interesting idea. We thought we'd do a pilot episode, see how it goes, but we have so much to talk about this week. Both me and Jesper are releasing new music. So I've got my new song, Run For Your Life, literally has just dropped on NCS when this has come out, together with Mime. Absolutely hyped for that tune. Is one of my favorite ones I've made.
Yeah.
Cheers, man. But like, honestly, like we were talking about this. Like, I've done so much extra stuff for this. We'll cover this later. But like, I'm so excited for that tune. And then Jesper, I'll let you say about this. But you have something big coming soon, don't you?
Yeah, man. So by the time this episode, like this podcast episode drops, I'm pretty sure the song is going to be out already. But I'll be releasing on Spinnin' with Tungevåg, Vlad K, and Skinny Days. Spinnin' Main. Yeah, boys,
Spinnin'
made
Main.
It. Let's
Spinning
go.
Main. That's the dream from the beginning for everyone, man. At least when we started, like, you saw Martin Garrix releasing Animals and Spinning or something, and everyone was like, "Oh, I'd love to get on Spinning."
Yeah,
and it's just so sick. Now you've done it on Spinning Main as well with Tungevåg.
Yeah.
Like, that's massive.
That is huge. And
massive congrats.
When you saw that, like when you were younger, and it was like a little boy's dream. That thing, like, it seemed so out of reach, but like now. Like having it done, like it's not out yet, of course. Like I can't even honestly like comprehend it yet. I know I'm kind of like hyping myself up here a little bit, but it's honestly like so exciting, man. To actually finally like do something like this.
You're still getting used to it, you know. New level of fame.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But like,
just for Jonth.
Yeah. So right now, I'm gonna try and salvage this, or not salvage, but like try and do something bigger with this whole like situation, like releasing on Spinnin' Main. Like a lot of people probably would be like, "Oh yeah, I made it," you know, like I don't have to do anything else. But that's not how you should go about these things, you know. Like I feel like we talked about this before.
This is so like, okay, I want to say this about our group in general. This is the sick thing I think about the people that we surround ourselves with music. We all understand that we all just want to carry on doing more, and like we will argue to the end of the earth with each other about what's the best thing to do, but it helps you can like consider what's like what you should do next and like all this stuff. And it's like having people like surrounding yourself with people with that ambition is so good, honestly. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to try and do next?
So dude, honestly, I'm not completely sure, but I need to find the perfect way to use this situation, like with record labels and my brand, and try and see if I can push forward and make more music like the song, because this song is really different from the like music that I've been releasing. It's more like poppy, you know.
Yeah, because you've done quite a bit of bass house stuff recently.
I've done a load of like bass house stuff, and a lot of bass house is going to come out this year. Just plug in that a little bit, you know. But it's like this song is so different from that. But I feel like I could release more songs like this in like tiny segments, you know, and just stick to this like 4 to the floor EDM and do harder stuff as well. But then every once in a while, I release something like big like this, more poppy, more like suited for a wider audience, like this song is. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, man. Like, I think I've said this a lot before, but because of the way you write your melodies, like you can translate it to any style really well. Like, I think you can still tell it's you very clearly when you jump from genre to genre. So it's like, for example, when we work on something, like a lot of the time I'll be like, "Oh, we're making trap. We're not making house or anything." So we'll make like trap, or it'll be a bit dubsteppy or something, like some of the stuff we have coming up. But like, you can still tell clearly your influence is 100% all over it. You know what I mean? Because of the way you write melodies, which is really cool. Like I don't know many artists that do it very well with like a signature sound where they translate it so well between genres.
Yeah,
so,
and in MIDI as well. Like usually you hear it in the sounds that the people use, like the leads or the basses and shit.
It's like
we've
got a running joke now that if you just like have mono legato on your lead, you just jump. It's just Jonthy.
That's the thing. A little bit of swing, a little bit of mono legato. It's a Jonth melody. And like, I don't even know how I do it. I don't even know what specifically it is that makes my sound. But I feel like everyone keeps telling me that they can recognize it. I don't even like recognize it. Like,
do you know how I think you do it? I think you just randomly put notes up and down a few octaves every so often, so it's just like all over the place.
yeah, maybe. But I mean, it's catchy, so like if it works, isn't it?
Yeah, true. I would say in comparison to that, I like using LFOs a lot, and that's my thing. But
yeah.
You can't translate that as well as a melody to other genres, because everyone does that. So
yeah. Speaking of LFOs, I want to talk about that song we're working on now, but we can't talk about it because it's not finished.
Which one? Which one? Which one? We have more than one. Ooh.
Oh yeah, we do. We do have Supersonic, but that's not very LFO-y.
No, Supersonics. Well, it does have that classic. Like,
yeah, but it's a top melody, you know. Like the other one that we have doesn't really have that top melody. It's more like the big chords and stuff.
I think Supersonics more sounds like you, and then the other one is like a better combination of both of us. But Supersonic's still a banger. Don't get me wrong. It's still. I think Supersonic is like taking your Jonth melody and put it on my track. Be Yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? Exactly.
It's like the follow up to that song. So once people hear that, I played that in my end of year set. So if you want to go listen to that on my YouTube now. Sorry for the plug midway through, but like if you want to go listen to that song now, then I'm not telling you where it is in the set, so you have to watch the whole thing. But go watch it.
yeah, exactly. Jonth and Tom Wilson ID, or is your name first on that? I don't remember.
Tom Wilson Giles.
Your name is first on that, I think.
Same thing. Well, we've just told them we've told them it's called Supersonic already.
Yeah, so they're gonna find it. They're gonna leak it. It's gonna be out there, and then. But you know that's always like good promotion, even though if it's like
true
leaked. There's a lot of like songs that gets signed to big labels through leaks like this. I don't remember at all now what song it was. I think it might have been some song that got signed on Hexagon through like one of Brooks's sets on Tomorrowland.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember. It was a couple years ago. I don't remember what artist. It might have been like. It might have been like Jonas Aiden or some shit like that signed a song to Hexagon. I think it might have been like, I don't know.
Sick.
I don't remember. Yeah, but
this reminds me of something. So right, just quickly before we move on from that point, you know that Trap City, the remix we did, which got on Trap City, so the Beach House one, we did that ages ago. Well, I sent that into a demo live stream. I can't remember who, and Rob was sitting in there, who's the Trap City like A&R or something, and he heard it, and that's how it got on there. Like he heard it from the demo stream.
Shit.
So
you're right.
That's literally the same. Like it's the same concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've literally had that before.
Sometimes you just gotta put your music out there in a way, even if it's not signed or released, you gotta like put it out there for people to hear it because you never know who's listening, right?
Give them a little teaser.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I feel like maybe it's a like good idea to do shit like this and just put your stuff in
as well. Like if you're experimenting with something you're not sure about, like whether it'll work. Like if you just drop a little hint of it somewhere and see how people react, it gives you a good idea. You know what I mean? Because like this is like you can ask your friends and you can ask producers, and a lot of time producers will be a lot more critical. Whereas if you give it to like general audience sort of thing, you get a broader idea of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So then your average listener can actually like give their point in like a comment section on SoundCloud or on YouTube or something like that.
You can get someone going, "This is shit. I could make this in 5 minutes," or someone being like, "This is the next big thing." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's also one funny thing that I feel like we could talk about, like this whole making something in 5 minutes. That doesn't matter, honestly. Like there's so many like instances where like you could just find a decent loop on Splice and just make a tune out of it, and then you're on fucking Billboard, you know.
But literally, man, like I hate this whole idea that if you haven't made everything in the track from MIDI and synths and you haven't made every sound yourself, then it's like it takes away credit, because the biggest producers, they like loads of the songs before, like that were released before, like think of like the 2000s era, like 2000 to 2010, that era. Like most of the pop songs then will have been sampled from old songs before, like either melody wise, or they'll take a bit of song and chopped it up and done something with it. It's like the idea that you can't download a simple loop from Splice and base your track around that is like crazy to me. Like for example, Run for Your Life, the break in that I built like that. I was just trying to make a rap beat like initially. I just got this guitar loop off Splice, which was like, I think it was like a house guitar loop, and I just sped it up. I made that break out of it. As like the whole drop, I like barely used any samples. It's mostly synth work and stuff. So like I'm showing off a bit with what I can do with synths. Well, how I can use a saw wave in like 30 different ways. But yeah, I was showing off with how I could use like synths there. But like, it doesn't matter if you use like a bit of audio for your break or something. Like no general listener cares, but there's this like elitist mentality with a lot of producers. I feel like, you understand what I mean?
Yeah, it's so stupid, man. Honestly, it's less about like what kind of samples you have and like how many people has used this sample or how like little work you've done to it, and more about like what you use it for and how you use it. Like it's a resource, especially like Splice.
Literally,
when you're paying for a platform like Splice and not using everything that you got in front of you, you're wasting your money.
100%.
Yeah.
You might as well use everything you can with it, because like say you've got a writer's block. If you find a simple, like the most simple like ARP or something on Splice, and it inspires a whole track, like you still made that whole track, you know what I mean? And it's just helped you get over that writer's block. Like I would say I don't really get like writer's block in the way I used to anymore, because I'm not sat there with a blank screen every time when I start. I try and find something to inspire me when I start. You know what I mean? So like, I think Splice is like honestly one of the most valuable resources out there for producers. Like it's one of the things you definitely want to get.
Definitely. And it's like I kind of do the same thing, but I mostly try and look for, and this is very popular, a lot of people do this as well when they make music. They try and find a vocal to work around, like make a verse and stuff like that.
Because you can naturally hear where the chord progression should go normally.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a song that I've signed recently that is going to come out later this year, or I have two songs actually that I use the same like workflow for, where it's like a rap vocal. I threw them into like a formant or pitch corrector and just like made it monotone as fuck and just fucked around with the sound. It sounds nothing like the original sample anymore, It's just like words chopped up and all that. But it like makes sense, and then I just make a song around it,
100%.
Yeah,
it's such a good way to do it, honestly.
Yeah, man, it is.
So like when we start talking about using all Splice samples, like if you think of that remix that Ewan did for Jonas Aiden. So if you don't know Ewan, Magnus, his artist name, so you probably heard of his remix for Jonas Aiden, and that was all made out of samples mainly, but like the way he processed them and the way he used them is so clever. Like I don't think the majority of people could put together the audio like that the way he did.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the combination.
Even if they had
the
same sample, even if they had the exact same samples, it doesn't have to turn out the same way.
The things you can do with audio are honestly very impressive. So like I would not judge people for using loops, because it's so creative. Like you can be so creative with it.
Yeah. I don't remember which song it was, but I think it was like a Justin Bieber song a couple years ago. It was literally just a Splice loop. Right?
Yes. What?
Literally
what
just a
producer was that from? Oh, it's like I know who it was.
Yeah. I don't remember, man. But that's like
I'll remember and say another time.
Yeah. But like stop judging people for that.
But I remember the producer was literally like it's on Splice, like you can do that if you want. Like why should I be credited for it? Like when these producers put out a pack, they expect you to use them on all the loops and stuff. Like they're there to be used.
It's royalty free.
Literally, man. So talking of like making an idea in 5 minutes, TikTok.
Oh yes.
So
that's where it's at right now.
I've been doing a lot of these little videos on TikTok recently, and I've been talking about this a lot with the boys, and I've been very hyped about it because I don't think my content's amazing, I'm not gonna lie, but just getting into the groove of like making regular video content and putting it out on there has been so much fun. It's been so much fun to do, and it's actually really rewarding. Like it surprised me because you build a completely new fan base to the one you had already, to a different audience base, and like the algorithm on there works in a completely different way to anything else I've seen. So you can just build traction on there like you can't do that on any other app. I don't know many other like social medias where you can join, and then after after like a week or two have 1,000 followers because all your videos are getting 1,000+ views. You know what I mean? Like literally, like it takes ages to build that up everywhere else. So it's insanely powerful for music producers. But like you can make a beat in 5 minutes and chuck it on there, even if it's made out of splice loops. And people like duet it. They'll like put their own lyrics on it. You could find like a vocalist for your next song on there. Like such a sick platform, honestly.
Yeah. And it looks so much fun as well. Like it's like it looks like you're having fun when you're doing these videos. And like I know that you talk about TikTok all the time as well. It's like your go-to like conversation starter these days. Like just, hey, have you seen my latest TikTok? And I'm like, yeah, you're on the top of my feed, you know, all the time. But it's honestly like I personally enjoy the content as well. Like, and I'm not sitting here trying to plug you as well, like to all the other people, but I genuinely feel like if there are just producers, it doesn't even have to be producers. Like if you're genuinely interested in like what's going on in like music and shit like that and how we do it, just follow you on TikTok. And you also have some other like funny content on the side like that they could check out as well. It's really good.
Subjectively funny, that's
yeah, well that's humor in it.
Depends who you are, but like this is the thing though, like I feel like we're at a stage with music where we realize you've just got to utilize every social media platform you can. And like it obviously everyone like they work in different ways with how they like to promote their content and how they like to present their brand and stuff, but like if presenting yourself to a camera in a way which is just like I did this, or like you want to break down your track, or you want to do a little DJ mix or something like this, just something which shows your skill off or your talent off, like, and engages a new audience, is so worth doing. Like any social media platform is worth trying to invest some time into now, and especially TikTok, just because of the way it works. So that was the only reason I decided to start doing it, because before, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a lot of people our age are like this. They either love TikTok, they've downloaded it, and they spend 5 or 6 hours a day on it because they've realized what it's like. That's me. Yeah, that's me as well now. Like I look at my screen time on my phone and it's like 5 hours, and I'm like, Jesus,
dude, I can't sleep thanks to this fucking app, man. I'm so addicted.
It is so addictive, but you're either like that, or you're either like the flip side of that, where you're like, I hate TikTok. Like it's all just a cringe fest. And
I just don't think these people understand. Like,
don't get me wrong, before, it is a cringe fest.
Yeah, it is. Most of the content on there is just like, no shit. But the good thing about it is you could just scroll until you get to the good content, like it, trigger the algorithm, and then a majority of the content is going to be like directed towards you. You know.
Exactly.
Just make sure that you interact with the post that you actually like. I had this conversation with my brother before as well, and he was like, it's just little girls shaking their ass on TikTok. And I'm like, well, do you like the post that you like? He's like, nah, I never click on anything. Well, there's your fucking problem, innit, man?
Tell the algorithm what you like. Yeah,
exactly.
Talking right. So you were saying interacting with content. We were talking about this with both TikTok and Instagram. So it's like, this costs nothing to do, obviously, like reply to comments and stuff. But I didn't realize how much of a difference, especially on Instagram, replying to comments and just liking posts and just keeping the interaction going makes, because there is an algorithm in Instagram as well which keeps that going. Like you explain what you said to me basically. Like,
okay, so you kind of bump the post up every time there's an interaction, even if it's from you, right? And you can always just ask a question as well to get another comment, like on the same comment, to keep that thread going. And if you have like more and more interactions on your post, of course it's gonna get bumped up in the feed of like whoever's watching their feed on like Instagram and following you on Instagram, right? And like sorry, what was I gonna say? Like asking questions and stuff like that really helps out.
Yeah. 100%. I definitely think there's a psychological thing with it as well. Whereas if you see something's got like more like likes and comments, you're more intrigued to like maybe click on the comments or like comment something yourself. I think there's like a herd mentality thing where if someone's more popular, you try and follow them, sort of.
And not only that, like people like when you engage with, like your fans will like you even more when you engage with them. So why not just respond to the comments? It takes you like 5 seconds and it's not even boring. Most of the time, like I enjoy interacting with my fans. I respond to a lot of like DMs that people send to me as well. Like I'm not too bothered. The only thing is like you need to have a proper conversation starter if you want to DM me. There's so many people DMing me on Instagram being like, hey. Hey. Or that generic, hey, do you want to do a collaboration? Or I usually get this really formal DM where they're like, hello, this is me. I have 700 followers on SoundCloud, and I want to collab. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I don't care about how many followers you have. You could have like, okay, yeah, I would give a shit if you're verified on like Instagram and have like 1 million followers. Yeah, I would care, but like that doesn't matter to me that much. I recently released a song with Hilleffects, and he doesn't have a lot of followers or anything like that. He just sent me a good idea, and we've been talking for a while, you know.
And you worked
like
on it.
Get to know me, you know.
And
like,
he didn't send you a message like collab, bro. Can we just confirm? Does that work? Does that work for you? If someone sends you collab, bro, or like collab or something around that with no context or no idea, does that work?
Hell no. Like dude, I barely collab with you. Come on, man.
Ouch.
Like, yeah, but like compared to like I barely collab at all, right? But like if I wanna know the people I work with, right? And it's probably the same thing for you as well. Like you want to get to know the people.
We mainly work in our friendship group, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I'm really bad at breaking out of that. So like if I want to work on something, most of the time I'll talk to Jagsy because our workflows just work so well. And he'll send me ideas, I'll send him ideas. We'll finish them up in a week or two, sort of thing. Yeah. And but like I just feel like
we pitch ideas back and forth as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. We have a server on Discord, and we're just always showing each other ideas. So it's easy just to be like, oh, do you want to jump on this or something? But it's like, especially with like when random people ask you to collaborate. Like if you like the best way to do that is to be like, hey, what's up? Like I have this idea. I think you'd be great on it for this reason, and give some context to why you're sending it, and send the idea. Because if the idea is like decent, you're going to attract them with that alone. You know what I mean? So send the idea with the initial message, but don't send collab, bro. It does not work.
Yeah. All right. So what I would personally say would be the best approach is to like approach the person like with like a compliment or some shit like that. And this is just like, it doesn't even matter the context if it's like for a collaboration or if you just want to get to know the person, right? Just approach the person with like a I love your like last tune. It was a banger. I like this part specifically because it makes this and this like, you know, stand out more or whatever. Like start a conversation and actually try and get to know the person. Like
I've had that quite a few times. So like one of the only people who like I've worked with who isn't like in our group is Hughes. So we did a song called Ignite, which is released on NCS. But he hit me up on email with like 3 or 4 ideas, and he said, "Oh, I loved your tune called Wake Up on Tribal Trap that you did. Like it was sick. We should work on something." And he sent me like 3 really sick ideas, and it's like obviously he's established, but he just understood how to do that straight away, and it worked so well because I was like, shit, I know who this guy is already because I'd heard his music on NCS, and it was like he sent me some really dope ideas, and he complimented me. He did all the 3. I think they're the 3 things that you can really do is like try and build a name for yourself, try and like send some decent ideas, and try and compliment the person you want to work with. You know, like generally that works quite well. So
yeah. Exactly. I think it's interesting that you started talking about like growing your name and like how to like I think we should talk a little bit about that honestly, like how to grow as an artist and stuff like that. Like talk a little bit about how we ended up where we were. Like I know we talked a little bit about this off camera earlier as well. But like when we started out, right?
Yeah.
We were just in like we got to know each other from this Facebook group, the Future of House. You were making like future bouncy stuff, and it was sounding like so crap and everything.
It was terrible, man.
Yeah, dude, my music was so shit back then as well. And this forum, like just being in this forum, even though we weren't actually friends up until like way later, but just being in this forum helped, like me personally, at least, to like try and understand like music and music production just from you viewing other people like do it so often.
Well, I was scared to message you to begin with on that. You probably don't know this, but you were always the popular kid on there because you sort of knew how to make like decent future bouts, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So well, I mean, I had just started out doing it. It's just that I had so much like experience from just composing before. Like I was always shit at mixing. Like I've only recently started getting good at mixing.
Yeah.
You know?
But I wasn't any good on there, but I think it was me, you, and Vason that originally met each other. Vason, Vasai, as his artist name is. So, but
he used to be called Vason. That's why we call him Vason still. So, But yeah, so like, yeah, Vason was probably the first person that I got to know like personally, because we started working on a collab and we still haven't released a single collab. We've known each other's for years now, but we still haven't released anything. It took us years to release something as well, like you and me.
Yeah.
But then like, I think we got to know each other because we started talking about like creating a platform to like promote music, which is now in hindsight, like knowing like when we know how stuff actually works, that's fucking stupid. The idea that we had, it was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But we connected a lot of people and we actually created a circle and we surrounded ourselves with other people who were as ambitious as we were.
Oh man, right? This goes back to the Skype days.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah,
we had a Skype group with all the boys, and like obviously people slowly got added and changed and stuff, but like this goes back to that and how it's so weird how our group formed the way it is as such. So the group of friends that we have around us that we work with, but it's like it all started from that group, as you're saying. But, man.
But since we got to know each other, we have all like collectively, even though some have been bigger than others, like we've all been like growing at the same rate. And like you branched out and you moved on to like trap and started growing in trap music and like all that, and stepped away from like house and future house. I kind of like started doing a bunch of other stuff as well. Yeah. And like we've still been growing. Same thing goes for like Chris. He was still Rude sorry. He was still pretty established when we got to know him, right? When like, because he messaged me, like said that we should do a collab, and then we did never write. And I introduced you guys, and I introduced him to our like little Discord group that we're in right now.
It's so weird. Like he still holds this over me a bit, but the first time he joined us, Skype call, I low key fanboyed. Because like then it was like he was like really sick compared to all of us. It was like what like Rude Eyes, but like it's so weird.
That's also so funny. Like when you when was the moment that you realized that artists are just people? Like when was that? Because I can tell you mine. Mine was when
ADE. Well, no, it was when we all met. But it wasn't even that, you know. I think meeting everyone just kind of put it into context. Like, it's just cool meeting up with everyone. But I know what you mean. Like, because you do put in your head a lot of the time, you can put people on a pedestal a bit.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? So
So my moment was when. So I had just, this was ages ago, right? So I had just released Roundhouse. You remember that? You even helped me out getting that release on like Owl Future or something like that. It's still a banger. I think I might be a little bit biased though. But
who was that with again?
Two Sides. I don't even know what he does anymore. Like I barely talk to that guy anymore, honestly. Yeah, it's a shame. But anyway, so I had just released that song and I messaged well, ironically, this is going to branch out into a different story as well, which is kind of connected to this spinning thing that's going on right now. So I got to, like, the information got to me through my brother that Tungevag and Raban, who were a duo back then, they kind of split up now. But they were going to play at the local nightclub, right? Where I live in the same city, right? So I just sent a fucking Bible long message to them, like who I was and all that on like 3 different platforms because I really wanted to reach out to them. So I texted them on, I think it was Facebook, SoundCloud, and I think I emailed their management or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, I just want you to play my song because it's really cool, you know, like if you would play my song. And then we just started talking and everything, and they played my tune. It was really sick. They played it out on the nightclub, and we all had a great night. And we kept on talking, like me and Raban, me and Tungevag, we kept on like chatting every now and then, talked about collabing even. And then
so I remember after you went to the nightclub, sending us a video, then playing your song. And you were just like crazy hyped.
No,
like,
that was my brother actually. That was my
that your
brother.
That
yeah, he was recording the video, and he was like,
"Oh my god!" Like or something. I don't know. But you were going crazy or whatever. Like you sent it to the Facebook chat the day after. It looked insane, man.
Yeah, man, it was so sick. Especially like given how far we've come from that point now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then like that's kind of the moment that I realized that doesn't matter how big an artist is, it's still a person, you know, it's still an individual. you know. So we got to know each other like from that, and one thing has led to another. We've met up like a couple times now. I even partied with them backstage, and they brought me up on stage the next time they played at the local like nightclub, and then they played in the city that I live in now, Falun, and they brought me up on stage that time as well, you know. And we partied backstage. They got to meet my girlfriend. They got to meet like a couple of my friends as well, and at one time we even went to like an after party at a friend of mine's place, and just like partied all night. It was fucking sick. And
that's so dope, man.
It's just like you and me, you know, just regular people like chilling in front of a PC making music. Doesn't matter how big they are, you know. It's people. And so people have their like own personalities and stuff like that, and like you want to get to know these people, right? And that's kind of what I mean. You know, like if you want to work with someone, get to know them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
just spend time with them as well. Like,
yeah, it's so much more valuable, like to the person that you're working with. If you get personal,
this is the thing as well. That like again, as I said earlier, like we all work in our friends. I think we all know each other. We all know how the way each other works, and we all trust that we all know we know what we're doing. If you know what I mean. But not just that. Like we're just like we personally like respect each other to the point where it's like we want to work together. Like I think just when you become friends with someone, even if you know they're not as say like you don't think they're as good as producing as you, if they have a sick idea and you want to work with them, like a lot of the time they will. So like some guy from my so like I'll lead on to a story that I've had with like this recently. So some guy from my uni who was on the same course as Kira, who sang on my song Darkness, who also is on the same course as me at uni. But he knew her, and he's a super sick guitarist, and he's a super sick writer, and he recently started making EDM music, and he hit me up, and we did a couple of sessions together. We've been working on something at the moment. We've got vocalist on it now. It's like sounding sick. Like I'm really happy with it. And it's like if he hadn't reached out to me personally, like I probably wouldn't have like bothered talking to him. But like these sessions have come from that. So it's like just hit someone up personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it works super well. But I'm super happy with the song we've made, and it wouldn't sound like that if it didn't have his influence.
Yeah.
So it's so cool. Like when people help you shape your sound in a different way. It's just I'm just chatting shit now.
Let's put it like this. Don't try and find a collaborator. Try and make a fucking friend, you know?
Honestly, way more important.
Yeah, so much more important.
But this is the thing again, like, okay, this is a nice little segment into something else. It's it's all just networking. So it's the same with industry like professionals that you may know, or label managers or A&R. Just make friends with them. Like honestly, like someone's gonna want to sign your music if you're friends with them more. And the good thing about that is when you're friends with someone and they're an A&R of a label or like in the industry in some way, and you send them something, they'll be more honest with you. So if they're like, okay, this tune isn't up to your normal standards. Yeah, I don't care if they said. I'd rather they told me that and they told me their honest opinion on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't feel as bad being shut down by a record label as well. Like if you know them and they can just explain to you, like as a friend, like well, we don't want this song because it doesn't fit our brand or something like that. If you get that from like let's say a Hexagon or something like that, just shut you down with an email like that. Completely impersonal, and you don't know the A&R or anything like that, that kind of like you feel that, you know. But if it's like with let's say you send a demo to Billy on NCS, who is like one of the fucking nicest people I know, honestly. So such a humble dude. Like if he tells me like, yeah, I'm not feeling this song, like okay, yeah, I get it, man, it's cool. But
the cool thing when you send, like, for example, Billy a demo though, is he does it off vibe a lot of the time. So like he'll just be like, if he likes the vibe of the song or not, and he thinks it will fit the label, if you know what I mean. So like he'll just be very honest. He'll be like, oh, I don't feel like I'm not feeling the melody in this or something. So
yeah,
and I'd rather people said that. It's like, for example, like I sent Jake a lot of stuff, Jake Huntley, a lot of stuff for Enter Records, who's also a good friend of all of ours. Like he's just honest with, he's like, when I've sent stuff before, he's just like, yeah, I'm just not keen on this one. This isn't one of your best ones. But like like I'd rather
Dude,
people
he can be deathly honest as well. He could just be straight up like, dude, this is trash. You know?
We're so used to that.
We don't mind it. Yeah, exactly. We don't mind it because we're mates. You know,
it's so much better when people are like that. Like again, this is why I think a lot of the time when producers ask for feedback, get producers to say stuff, but also show your friends as well. Because like a lot of the time when you show a friend and like they'll just be like, "What is this shit?" You know what I mean? Like because your friends were more likely listen to pop music than the more niche sort of EDM stuff you're making. And if they like it, that tells you something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So well, I mean, it does kind of depend on what it is you're trying to do with music. Like if you are trying to go for like a very experimental niche kind of sound, sort of like how I'm doing like right now. I wouldn't no, I'm kind of lying right now. I still show my friends this music and they still think it's banging.
This is the thing, but this is the thing. If a general audience thinks that, like your friends are more of a general audience than this producer audience, be like, oh your kick doesn't sound right. You need a top kick on it, and a different snare. You know what I mean? It's like most people won't listen to it and analyze it in that way. Your friends will be like, oh, the melody's really catchy, or this. Like, I'm not feeling the vocal in this one. Yeah. And they won't be as technical with it, but that's good a lot of the time. Like, that's really helpful feedback from what I've found personally.
Yeah. And that's also something that you should try and do and try and step away from this technical language when making music. Sure, it's obviously, like, I'm a sound designer, like, and like a sound engineer, and I make a lot of my sounds on my own, but whenever I try to complete a song, I always take a step back and try and be as objective as possible and not try to listen to so many details. Like, just try and listen to it as if you were anyone. You know? And not just like a producer who can listen to all these tiny little like details, like the transients and the snare doesn't like punch through as much. Like that doesn't matter that much to a general listener, you know? So like don't beat yourself up if you get like this kind of feedback too much from like other producers. Of course, like if it does sound like really shit because you don't know how to mix, then you need
that's a different thing. But like tiny details often a lot of this time is personal like preference as well. So like me and Jesper have very different ways of mixing vocals. We'll agree on that. We don't like the way each other mixes vocals, but I wouldn't say that when you listen to either of our songs, they sound out of place in them. Like they work, you know what I mean? So like we like, it's all personal preference. Like if someone tells you to completely change something, don't always listen to them. Like go off general feedback more, in my opinion. Yeah. You know?
So I try to do that whenever I give feedback. Like if there's something that I don't personally like, I say that. You know, like this is just me personally not liking this kind of sound in that spot. Like I know that I have a very specific like taste. You know, I don't like the same stuff as a lot of people like. You know, like I don't have that general taste, and like you know that, and all of our friends know that I like different, like a lot of different things than you guys do.
So a lot of the time when people show me like future house music or future bounce music now, I'm just like, okay, yeah, the idea's cool, but I just don't like this sound anymore. And I don't get me wrong, I like a lot of like the sound that's coming out of people like Brooks and Kirby, still like all the like I like a lot of the stuff that you make, but just this generic future bounce stuff, a lot of the time when I get sent it, I just feel like personally like I can't feedback something that I don't genuinely believe in, if you know what I mean. Like I don't know how to improve it because like I'm not invested in it. But if you send me like a banging trap or future bass idea, I can tell you straight away, or a pop idea or something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's subjective on the producer.
Like it doesn't even have to be bad, you know, like for you not to like it, like objectively bad. Like if it's a song that is objectively good, but you don't like the style or you don't like the sounds that they're using, that's personal.
That'll influence it. Yeah, as you said, it's personal. But that's the same, right? That's the same thing with A&Rs and stuff when they give you feedback. So even though they will be brutally honest, again, remember a lot of the stuff that sounds personal. Don't take it to heart. If you send a track to Hexagon and they're like, oh yeah, we don't think this fits us, don't take that to heart. You know what I mean? Yeah, so exactly. If they give you feedback, they generally want you to improve a lot of the time. So remember that from labels and A&Rs and stuff. So
yeah, that's also one thing that, like, if you're just starting out in your career and you're sending like these emails to different like A&Rs on different labels, like even getting a response, but getting declined, by a response, that means that they actually took the energy, because a lot of the times they don't even respond because they don't like the email you sent were like shit, and you don't know anything about how like the industry works, how to properly like send an EPK or anything like that. Like I literally the other day I explained to you, or not the other day, but like a couple of months ago I explained to you that you need to have an EPK, you know?
I made it the next day.
Yeah.
I literally made it the next day. I was like, why haven't I thought of that before and done that?
Yeah.
Like, and I literally made it the next day. So it's, all these little things add up. Like, they want to see your brand as much as they want to see your music a lot of the time with labels. Yeah. They're investing in you as a person as much as the song you're signing. So
like, you gotta view your whole project and like just step back and view it as a product rather than like you as an individual.
True,
like if you decide on becoming an artist, you gotta sell yourself as a product, you know. Definitely. Or not yourself, but like your brand, you know.
I think so. This again brings me on to thinking about management and like the way that would help with that. And we've both had managers before and currently don't. And I honestly think the best way to, at this level, to like get your image or the way you want it, to get your your vision of your brand and your sound and everything you want to do, is just to do everything yourself. Like, honestly, at this level. And when it becomes unmanageable, then get a manager.
Yeah,
because they'll do the administrative stuff. But like, honestly, I think that's something to consider. Again, if you get offered a management deal, I wouldn't take it at an earlier stage. I'd just try and push it yourself, because a lot of the stuff around doing this branding stuff you can get done on Fiverr, you can get done on different websites like
that's not even the manager's job to do branding. That is still your job.
That is still your job, but like they'll put one and one together a lot of the time and help you find someone.
Of course,
like help you find a graphic designer if you want them to, sort of thing. But like, just do it through Fiverr. Like, just do all this stuff through Fiverr. Like, if you want like connections with labels, you can find the majority of that stuff on the internet if you search hard enough. Like you don't need a manager. So that
Well, I mean, don't need. I can tell you one thing that is actually very beneficial from having had management. I have learned just from being in the CC of so many emails. I've learned how to do it myself. You know, just observing like what's going on, like when the manager speaks to the label or to a vocalist or something like that. Like I can do that on my own now, just because I know how it works. You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, you've kind of taken another route, because you were barely in any like CCs or anything like that, but you've taken your time to like observe what we have been doing and what other people have been doing as well, and like trying to figure it out on your own. And it's been doing, like, you've been doing bits, man. Like you can take care of yourself just fine. You don't need a manager, you know?
Thank you.
But this is I know that this is what you're trying to say, that like you don't need a manager, but like I still want to say that it is beneficial to have a manager, but you don't need a manager. I guess I'm
preaching it from the situation, whereas a lot of people if they understood what to do, they could manage it themselves.
Yes. So yes. Yeah, these things are out there in the world. Like, these people, again, managers are just people. Like, they have learned this somewhere. You can learn the same thing.
Like, a lot of the time, it is just learning how to write emails. It's like spending some time doing certain things, like organizing the tasks you need to do for a release, or organizing what song goes where. It's like, it's all scheduling and planning and administrative stuff.
And it's like I told you to do the other day, which you did the next day or the same day, get a domain for your email, set up your email signature, and stuff like that.
This is the thing. When you think of something which is like so obvious to do, and you haven't done it, and you're like, why haven't I done it? Like, just do it, like, straight away. Yeah, like I set up my domain the next day. It's like, you told me about the EPK I did the next day. It's like why wouldn't you do all these little things? Because it's like, it takes, like, you can register a domain through you can do it directly through Google. It's like £4 a month for the email like client, and then like £10 a year. It's like, and from a label's perspective, when you send it like at tomwilsonmusic.co.uk or something, I think I got at tomwilsonmusic.uk because .co.uk was taken. But if you have if you have an email like that, it just looks so much more professional. It shows them that you're in it for like, you're in it to be professional. Like you want to do music as you're living. And I think a lot of labels, remember at the end of the day, a label's a business. They're investing in your music as a product to make money on.
Yes.
And you have to show them you're serious about wanting that product to do well as such. So like everything you can do to show that you're serious about it, from making your own social visuals to doing little extra things like TikTok videos, which enhance your brand, doing little things like story posts regularly, post on Instagram. It all helps. Like it may seem very minor, but it all adds up in my opinion. Like,
and I mean, to some people, I know that it can seem overwhelming to do all this like administrative stuff, like getting a domain, like getting a fucking EPK and like setting up your branding. But if you really cannot be asked to do it, and if you have the budget, it doesn't even have to be expensive. Just outsource it. Let someone else do it for you.
Honestly, Fiverr.
Yeah, Fiverr. Like there's a reason why platforms like this exist.
Keep preaching Fiverr. I love it.
Yeah, man. Like you have a guy that designs your like artworks on Fiverr, right?
Yeah. So like I part of my course at uni is like graphic design. So like I could do that stuff, but honestly, I feel like it's better when you take a step back and let someone else do it. So I'd rather pay, like I think I pay this guy like 25 quid a cover, and he does these sick artworks, and like they're all matching to this brand now. Like I'm trying to keep this consistent brand. So he'll make the cover and then he'll send me the Photoshop file, and I'll just edit it to be in all the different assets that I need as such. But like it's so helpful. Like sites like Fiverr, honestly, if you were going to pay a proper designer to do that as such through like a design company, they'd charge you hundreds. You know what I mean? So it's
absolutely.
Like, so it's like this stuff's worth investing in my opinion.
I mean, it can still be worth to invest in like a company that is focused on setting up your brand.
Don't get me wrong,
I've been thinking about doing that for a side project that I've been like maybe not going to start. I don't want to get into that too much because I'm kind of maybe not going to do that and just release it on Jonth instead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking. It's the drum and bass stuff that I've been doing. I kind of teased a little bit of on my Instagram as well.
But with this stuff again, it's what we talked about before. It's like thinking about making smart like investments for what's right for you. So if it makes sense to spend money on branding yourself like super professionally, then do that. If not, you could probably do an equally like you probably do 90% of the job that they do through Fiverr. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And like, don't worry about losing money. You're not losing money for paying for like stuff like this. If everything goes well, you're betting money on yourself. You know, there's a good chance you'll get all this money back and more. Honestly, if you do it right.
Even if it goes badly, you've learned from your mistakes. Like learn what should I do differently next time. Like this is the thing. This is the whole thing with this. It's just trial and error. Like you have to try different things to see what works, you know.
Yeah.
And you'll slowly figure out on time what works for you, and different stuff works for everyone, honestly.
That's what I feel like so many people who have these ambitions but never chase them, like they don't understand, is that people don't just become successful like on the first try, you know? People become successful from failing and failing and failing until they succeed, you know?
But if you're motivated enough to do that, then that says something. That honestly says something about you, because that shows you want it enough to keep trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like you need to apply this mentality to everything you do with music. Like you've got to keep setting new goals, keep being like, okay, I might fail, but just try again next time. Like this is the beautiful thing with music. The main thing you invest into your project is time. And if you've got free time in the evenings, well, everyone has a lot of free time at the moment with lockdown. Just invest, like, just carry on trying to make cool shit, like cool new tunes, and keep trying to push them out. Like, one tune, no one might sign it, and you might have to try and do something more special with it. You just have to think about what you can do to make everything successful. And if you fail every so often, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
It literally doesn't. And that's another thing that I feel like is really good about music, is that there are rarely step backs. Like you only move forward, you know. It's only like your momentum slows down or like it speeds up, but you rarely go backwards in your career, you know?
100%.
At least when you're going up. But like of course, you're going to hit a peak at some point. But like, I would feel like shit if this is my peak, you know, where I'm at right now. But I think that's because I have such a huge momentum right now. And you also have a lot of momentum right now. And that's something that it's super important. Like you gotta, when you get this momentum, you gotta catch it, you know, and you gotta keep building that up, you know.
I think we definitely understand, like, this is the nice thing again about our group. We all understand what we need to do. It's just implementing it in the right way and hoping that something we do right gets traction. Because we'll, like, don't get us wrong, like, we'll fail at certain things we try and do. Like, we might try and promote a song in a certain way and it just flops completely, you know what I mean? But like, it's worth trying to understand whether that's feasible. So like, if you want to self-release and see whether it's feasible, if you have a good plan in place, do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just try it and see, because you're only going to learn more from that. Like, I feel like that's the sick thing with our whole group. We all understand what we need to do to carry on growing further. Yeah. So
this is sort of interesting as well, because you know, I don't have a plan B, right? I don't have a plan B. I'm doing music and that's it. Like, I dropped out of school and everything like that. And I just feel like if I keep doing this, it's impossible to fail, you know? Yeah. If I just stay motivated and keep on grinding, it is impossible to fail. I just feel like the people who fail in music didn't try hard enough. To
be fair, I wouldn't define what you've got. Like, the thing is, you're saying it's impossible to fail, right? But I would say you've already succeeded to a point where, like, you're doing well. Like, the majority of people do not earn a sustainable amount of music to live. Like, if you're earning enough money off music to help you live, like to help fund your living, if you're making any money off music, you've been successful. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, you're doing music professionally. Like, that is fucking impressive in today's age. Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like, because wasn't there was like some stat that like 80% of people earned under $300 from streaming on Spotify. Like, if you are over that threshold, you're in the minority. Like, congrats, you know what I mean? Like, and as soon as you get to that point, just like, you haven't. That's the thing. I wouldn't define that as failing. No, I wouldn't say you failed at any point. You just want to carry on growing it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. But that's like, when I dropped out of school, I was nowhere. I literally, like, I wasn't even great at making music. I was good at composing. That's one thing. I was good at composing music, like working with MIDI and finding sounds and like throwing them together. I was shit at mixing and I was shit at making arrangements and everything like that. I learned that after I dropped out of school. I learned that properly and just started building on this momentum and like joined Facebook groups and like started grinding, you know, because I knew that I dropped out for this. I need to make it, you know. I don't have a plan B. I feel like a plan B is just going to slow you down. Like, if you start planning on like a plan B, that's time wasted, because you're 100%. Probably not going to use that plan anyway, right? Just spend all that time and spend all that money, spend all you got into making plan A as like, what's the word? It's like concrete as possible, you know?
Yeah,
you shouldn't be able to fail, you know? And I feel like, take for instance, all these artists that signed music to NCS years ago, like Alan Walker and Alex Scrindo and people like that who signed music to NCS, they can live off of the royalties from NCS for the rest of their lives, probably. Or, well, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not the rest of their lives, but for a long while at least. You know, they've earned enough money off of just streaming. You know. And we kind of figured out as well, like, if let's say you sign 20 songs to NCS in today's climate, right? 20 songs to NCS, and you'll earn money monthly because, well, that's a good thing about NCS. They do payouts monthly. And you'll be able to pay rent with just that money. Like, if you'll be able to pay a living. Like, you'll be able to do whatever you want with that kind of money, you know? Just having, like, off of streaming, just having 20 songs on NCS in their catalog.
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah, honestly.
But then it's more about how you measure success, because success is objective as fuck, if you ask me. Like, some people would probably say that you and me some people would probably say that you and me, we have already succeeded. But to you and me, the sky's the limit.
We're not even halfway there to you and me.
Yeah.
But that's because I think you do have to keep. I think if you don't get to one thing and then think, okay, what's next to help me continue going, you do just dead end at a point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if you feel like you're stuck, figure out why. You know?
Yeah.
Figure out why you're stuck. Instead of just sitting there complaining and
is.
moping about why you're stuck and why you're not moving anywhere. Just take your time to solidify your plan. That's the word I was looking for, by the way. But
I would say I'm a bit different to you in the whole plan A and plan B thing, because I've obviously been doing uni for 3 years.
Oh yeah.
So but like the stuff I'm doing at uni is all like so it's media production, so it's related to the side of music, which is
you're not wasting your time. It's fully implementable in your plan A.
100%.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, like I have been considering whether I would want to do a job in media, and I don't get me wrong, I love doing all the graphic design stuff. Like I would happily go into doing something like film or graphic design related, but like I honestly feel like I want to spend a year or two now just trying music full time, just to see where I can take it.
Yeah. Well, you are gonna hit a wall at some point. Like I did that at some point with music, where I just feel like everything is fucking hopeless because you're like so pressured. But yeah, you do that with any high pressure job. Like you read about this like in the fucking news all the time, where people just walk into walls because they have like a huge business that they're running and they just can't fucking take it. But you will do that and you will overcome. You know.
Honestly, right? So. We've talked about so much stuff this week. I think we should leave some to the next episodes. But so we're gonna do this bit every week where we say what tune has been recently released which we like the most. So that every week, there's a bunch of new Music Friday stuff. And this week I wanted to say my favorite tune was that new one by Chime, Frankie Nuts, and Olivers. Wait, let me double check.
Yeah, that's sick.
Let Me Go, it was called. So they did like this EP on Disciple, and it was just so melodic and fresh, and loved it. So that's a song to definitely go and check out. So yeah, what's your pick?
Oh dude, like I'm gonna be completely honest, like I barely keep track of music. I barely do, but like I every now and then I go in and try and listen to like these new songs, because I don't want to be too influenced by people,
What is a song? What is a song that has been released, let's say within the last couple of months, which just stood out to you then that most people wouldn't know? Go on.
Well, most people wouldn't know. I don't think that's one song that really, really stuck to me. And this is pretty old now, or at least in EDM, is "Do It Again" with Swag. That one, I don't know. I think it was because that lead is just so unique, and like how it still sounds good, even though it's kind of shit,
Yeah.
I don't know. I love how Swag does that, and whenever he releases a new tune, it always like blows my mind.
Okay, really so sick. For the next episode, Jonth's gonna listen to New Music Friday before we do this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's do that.
I love before. I was like, what did I say? I was like to you, oh yeah, have a tune ready that you like. You're like, oh yeah, I will.
Yeah, me. That's what I do. Like that's how I am. But yeah. All right.
Honestly, we've talked about so much stuff.
How are we gonna talk about something next week?
We'll
figure it out, dude. We have these kind of conversations like every fucking day anyway.
Yeah, true.
We'll never run out of content. Don't worry about that.
I hope everyone found that interesting. I know we were just chatting shit for a lot of the time, but if you have any topics that you want us to discuss, or anything that this week which you think you don't agree with or is controversial, leave a comment. We'd love to talk about it on the next one. And we'll catch you all soon.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.